Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in this special interview. I'm your host, Crystal, and today's guest is the awesome death metal voice of Retsuko, aka Agresco. Put your paws together for Jamison Boaz. Before you get to the Agresco part, can you tell us how you got into the voiceover industry?
I kind of got into voice acting completely accidentally. So I was in a lot of stuff as like background characters that died a lot. My first roles was a zombie in Resident Evil 6. And at the time, I wasn't even a very particularly good zombie, but they just, there were like bodies in the room. We need more zombies. And I was like, oh, okay. But over the years, just from kind of like trial by fire and being thrown in the booth and getting gigs here and there, just even additional voice roles in like Berserk, the movies, stuff like Gundam Thunderbolt. I played a lot of characters in Gundam Thunderbolt, little background dudes, but like I actually played a character. My first character with a name was named Hoover, and I believe Johnny Young Bosch shot me in the head about 2 minutes after I was introduced. One of my favorite things that I got to be involved with was Devil May Cry 5.
Ah, alongside Ruben Langdon.
Ruben and Dan Southworth and Johnny, and I love all those guys. We've worked on so many things together because I worked in mocap too
Oh, you do?
as a sound technician. Yeah, so I've been a lot of technical roles on a lot of things because I know Pro Tools and because I know recording from being a musician, and so that's kind of what ultimately led me into that industry. But yeah, Devil May Cry 5 was fantastic. Long time since I've worked with those guys, and to get to work on that game was absolutely a crowning achievement for me. Bucket list checked off. I've been in Berserk. I've been in a Gundam thing. I've been in a few Gundam things, and I was in Devil May Cry 5, and those are some of my favorite things in the world. So that's done, and I'm very very pleased with that.
With that being said, you voiced over a dozen terrifying, gruff, or buff characters, and all of a sudden you share a character with Erica Mendez, who happens to be this cute little panda that seems to rage when everything hits the fan. Tell me about that.
The funny thing is I think, God, like back when I was in college, I think the Agretsuko was originally like a web show, like a web comic kind of thing, or not comic, but it was like a web series.
Right.
Very very short little video, and someone showed it to me like, oh my god, look how funny this is, and like little cute little you know red panda, and then she goes all metal and she starts screaming, and it was just like it was the original creator's voice too, and it was just so funny. And I didn't know what I was in for when I got the phone call to come in and do the show. I've been a friend of Patrick Seitz for a long time, and he's always been very supportive of my music and stuff. So he got the series as a director, and he had to cast. He had to find somebody to do that voice, and it's such a specific niche kind of thing. If you don't know how to do it, it can hurt you. If you try to just yell until it sounds like that, like it's gonna hurt your voice. And a lot of voice acting, they're very protective of their voices because that's their livelihood. But then Patrick was like, wait a minute, let's get Jameson in here because he screams in his music and stuff all the time. He's been in like metal bands and stuff. So I came into the booth and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down to do some screaming, and what do you need? And that's usually the way it goes. And you get calls for stuff, you don't even know what you're working on until you're standing there looking at it. And when I saw what it was, I was like, oh my god. I was like, I get to be the voice of that, because like I remember that. It's hilarious. I was so happy to see what it was. I was like, I can't believe that that's gonna be me.
I thought it was an audition you did for Netflix or any of the other production companies. I mean, you also do other work for other production companies, correct?
Yeah. And when you're kind of on the back end of the audio post production and stuff like that, like you will like they don't, Netflix or Sanrio aren't going to know like specific skills I have, because it's like it kind of just you're part of the pipeline. So the studios send me stuff to clean up and do the editing, and do all the file naming stuff, and then it gets sent off to the client, nice and organized and everything like that. But when I made the switch from working at music studios and started working for voiceover studios, I kind of settled into kind of like, oh, not trying to sell like my musical stuff, because I'm kind of there to do that job.
I have to say, the first song that appeared in season 3 reminded me a lot, at least your voice, reminded me a lot of Jonathan Davis from Korn.
Of Corn, I've been told a few times, like there's a couple of songs, like when I'm at home and I'm using, my own stuff, making my own stuff. I kind of let my body just make its kind of natural sound. It's like it's kind of this industrial sound, of just kind of the body doing what it does with compression and stuff. But with voice acting, obviously, like if you're playing like a big giant guy or something like that, you want to push it down lower and have a deeper voice, whatever. But like for that one, because I'm pushing higher, for some reason, when I go a little when I push a little higher in my register, I do start to kind of sound like Jonathan Davis, and I've heard
Right.
that before, which is great because I love Jonathan Davis. I love Korn. Jonathan Davis in every song. This is the way I sing about my life. Boy!
As a musician, there's no doubt you play the guitar. In season 3 of Agretsuko, there's mention of a particular guitar note, note F. Is it that really hard to play?
That is actually very accurate, especially amongst new guitar players starting out, because the thing about the F chord is that you have to take your index finger and you have to do what we call barring. You have to bar all the way across the entire first fret. So you have to hold down all the strings of the guitar with one finger. And if you're not used to that, it hurts like crazy. And then you have to use your other fingers to make a really weird shape that's kind of uncomfortable. Like, I've been playing guitar for, over 20 years. So when I go to do an F chord, it's pretty automatic at this point, but my god, I do remember how hard barring chords is. Like it's like this plateau that a lot of guitar players hit where they're like, bar chords? I have to play a bar chord? Oh god.
No wonder Agretsuko was really stressing about that.
Oh yeah, it is. That's 100% accurate.
For the first time ever, we hear Haida's rage voice. Were there any plans for you to voice his rage voice rather than Ben Diskin?
No, yeah, with Haida, he goes punk rock. I was so happy to see that they did that because watching season 1 and season 2, like the way he dresses, his leather jacket, his kind of attitude, and the fact that the way he plays his bass guitar, all of that stuff, I'm like, he's punk rock. So when he actually went full punk rock in her face, I was like, this is perfect. And I love what Ben Diskin did. I love Ben. I think he's fantastic, and he nailed it so good.
Squash your feelings, what the hell? Playing the doormat is so neat. You're too scared to meet the gays of strangers you see on the street. Walking on eggshells, that's your plan. All account of some messed up man who gave you a scare. But yeah, we all care, but now you're shutting and letting him win. Sounds chicken to me. Sounds chicken to me. Sounds chicken to me. Sounds chicken to me. So what the hell do you want to do? Figure that out and crawl out of your cave already! Can you dig it?
I like how the series, specifically season 3, follows its order and its musical order. It from season 1, of course, you start seeing that Agresco is this metal genre of a type of voice, and then, like you said, Haida's he dresses like a punk, is a punk, his attitude is punk. Therefore, in season 3, he has revealed that his genre is punk rock. So I love there's consistency here.
Yeah, and I think it really helps. There are musicians behind the creation of the show, and you can tell because it's great to see stuff like that where music is represented in kind of in a more realistic way. Because if you've ever watched any kind of animation, any show where you can tell that like the animator just had no idea how any of that's actually done.
Yeah, no.
It's kind of painful. It's like, oh, just. But yeah, I mean, I love the attention to detail in it because I mean, obviously, music is such a huge part of what makes Agretsuko tick.
Yeah,
And to have
definitely.
that
And and,
detail
and
in it, yeah.
and props to Sanrio and Netflix for using actual musicians to voice the death metal voice of Agretsuko, because I think in the Japanese version also features a musical artist to do the screaming voice.
Yeah, I believe the screaming voice is one of the main creators, and I do believe that he didn't know how to do the style, but when he realized that's what he wanted to do, like he learned how to do it to do that.
Right.
And I
I
think that's
believe
really
he
cool.
got trained by a musician to do it.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, if you don't know what you're doing, like there were people messaging me on Twitter, going to conventions and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, I just got back from the convention," and I was like, "Oh my God, were you cosplaying, an Agresco character?" And it was like, "Yeah, well, you kind of blew my voice out." I'm like, "Don't do that, don't do that. It's a trick. It's a trick. It really is a trick, And I think it's not even a very loud sound in reality either, and I think that's kind of the psychology of screaming properly in death metal and stuff like that. It's more of a technique that's about texture than it is about volume. So it's not about, it sounds really loud when you put a microphone in front of it, but it's it's actually, if you do it right, you can do it for a long time. I could probably have a conversation with you like this. It's not really even messing me up. But it's just, even I was talking to a friend yesterday about this, but when I listen to like Mark Hamill, when he does the Joker, Batman the Animated Series, he does that, but I'm like, that compression that he gets to do this voice, it's very much like death metal. Like it's the same kind of compression. It's just put in a different place in your head, in your throat, and the way that, you shape your mouth and your vowels,
You really make a good Mark Hamill Joker impression.
Thank you.
So season 3 spawned an actual physical CD that you can buy online called OTM Girls, appropriately. Can you elaborate on this item?
Yeah, I can sort of elaborate on it because I don't actually know the details of how that came about, because the way it came to me was after doing the first 2 seasons, obviously like Netflix and Sanrio and I have now they're aware of me, and now we have a relationship. So when they did the Aggressive Girl, I believe is the song.
Yeah, funny enough, in the actual episodes, the track is called Aggro Girl, but in the actual CD it's called Aggressive Girl.
Right, which might be like a localization thing. Basically, one day I woke up with an email and they were like, "Hey, do you want to sing a song for us?" And I was like, "Okay." That's pretty much all I knew about it. I popped the track into my studio and I listened to it and I was like, "Oh, this is a full thing, like this is cool." And so I did it and I sent it off, and I wasn't sure where it was going to end up and what it was going to exactly be used for, but I knew that eventually it would pop up and it would be a fun surprise. But knowing that season 3 was on the way, and knowing that there was a song involved, I was like, "This is really, they're kind of pulling all the stops now," and having me actually on the full release, it was really, really cool. I was really glad to see that they were doing that.
Unfortunately, the CD does not include the English track versions. It only includes the Japanese tracks. But both English and the Japanese song tracks are available on Spotify. Link down in the description box below. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Kawaii metal, which is a type of musical genre we've been seeing with Baby Metal, Lady Baby, and a couple of other bands, including OTM Girls?
I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's really good metal with pop idol icing, and I think that's really, really cool. I'm a huge metalhead. I love metal, but I also love a lot of different styles of music, and being a music producer myself, like you kind of have to be versed and not only understanding, but the processes of creating different styles of music and stuff. And I think like mixing genres is one of the most fun things you could actually ever do, except for hip hop and country. I think that's pretty atrocious. Not gonna lie. But yeah, there's another band that I really love, Bloodstained Child, which is a Japanese band, and I think they had, for only one album, I think they had an English girl singing, and just the juxtaposition of like really heavy with like really awesome synthesizers that you'd normally only hear in like pop music and stuff, like put together really well with this beautiful melodic voice. It was like every song sounded like a heavy metal anime theme song. It was just amazing. So yeah, I love Kawaii metal. I think all of it's great.
You and Rob Zombie.
Yeah. He's very well known for kind of mixing and matching genres as well too. He's a big fan of like 70s rock and stuff, like the 60s and 70s rock and industrial music, and uses like electronic stuff, but it's metal. Like he's an innovator for sure.
Now, going back to the CD, I mentioned this earlier, but the CD itself does not include the English tracks. Do you know if there is ever going to be an English version of the CD?
I'm not sure if what their plans are, but Netflix and Scenario, if you hear me, I'm always down.
So, walk me through the recording process of Aggressive Girl. What can you tell me?
Yeah, they basically sent me the lyrics that they wanted me to sing, and they sent me like a guide track, which is like some kind of just kind of singing along with it, like kind of softly, just kind of show me the rhythm, and then I take that and I do what most musicians and voice actors do, just read the words with the voice. But I made the screams way more over the top, just for fun.
Do you know who are the other vocals in the songs? Because if you pay attention, the Japanese version has everything in Japanese. All the words are in Japanese. There's no point that where it turns into English, and the English is the same. The entire song is in English. There is no Japanese words, but the actors for the other idol girls, they're singing in English. So I'm curious as to if they are the same voice actors, the same Japanese voice actors singing in English.
I believe it's the actors, or so I've heard.
I didn't do a lot of research on the Japanese voice actors, mind you, but I do remember seeing somewhere online that the voice actors for the other pop idol girls in the OTM girls group are actual pop star idols in Japan.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I actually asked that question before as well, and I asked it into the Googles, and the Googles didn't really have a direct answer back for me.
I'm only going
Yeah.
based on a photo I saw on Sanria's Facebook page, which I didn't even read the description, so I could be totally wrong on that.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's a band we should form in the future.
What is that band name gonna be?
Oh, it'd still be OTM Girls. I look fantastic with eye makeup, and I could totally wear a wig, and I would rock it.
And don't forget the must-have Lolita dress.
I'm wearing that right now.
Oh.
I came prepared to this interview.
I'm picturing Ladybeard here, if you've heard of him.
Yeah, Ladybeard. It kind of makes me wish I hadn't shaved my. I had a giant beard at one point that might have been a contender for Ladybeard's beard. I will say that much. But I'm way cuter.
Maybe you could do a cover of Nippon Manju.
I could. I would have to actually go to Japan to shoot the music video, though. You can't fake that part.
That's true. I mean, they came all this way to, I think, was it Beverly Hills or Burbank to film their part of that song.
It's kind of funny because I've never even been out of the country before, but yet most of the things I've worked on are Japanese. Whether it's music production or vocals or the animation side of things. Obviously, the English dubbing is done in Los Angeles mostly, but there's stuff coming out that I can't even talk about yet that I'm excited about. But maybe it'll get me to Japan finally.
You got me intrigued.
Oh yes.
We talking about season 4 here?
Well, if there was, I wouldn't be able to say anyway. There are multiple things coming soon from my direction.
NDAs.
Mm-hmm. I know stuff.
Tell us, which Agresco character can you relate to the most?
Well, I think the easy answer would be to say, like, I relate to Agresco because she's the central character, and being the focal point. She's going through that story that she is the most relatable, I think, for most people, and also Erica Mendez just brings so much life and detail to every character that she does. But if I were to pick someone besides Retsuko herself, that's a good one. Let me roll that over for a second. I mean, I kind of feel Anai. I kind of feel that guy. Like he's awkward and he's kind of he's kind of he's a little unhinged. I don't think he's a good guy. He's a good guy, but I think he's just kind of a jerk, and I think that's yeah. I'm kind of a jerk. But underneath, I'm a good guy, I think. I like a Nye. Plus, I love Billy. I love Billy Kometz. He's incredible as a Nye.
And it's the character with the virtual girlfriend, right?
Anai he was kind of like the main antagonist in season 2 that was giving Retsuko a hard time.
No, I know. I was referring to the actual plot in season 3, when Haida referred to his girlfriend as a virtual girlfriend.
Oh yeah, and then Haida found out that he actually had a girlfriend, and he was like, "Huh, you don't say."
The graphics look great.
Yeah. Well, these graphics are really great.
Spoiler alert here.
Oh, everyone's seen it already. I'm sure. Come on.
That's true. At this point, yeah.
It's like it's not even episodic at this point. It's like for most people, I know for me, it's always this way. It's like as soon as it comes out, like I'm not gonna start watching it if I can't finish the whole thing because it's like 2.5 hour thing. You know, the short episodes and everything. Like I always blast through it too, you know. Like I didn't watch it the day that it came out because adulting, life, work, that kind of whole thing. But by the weekend, I was like, I'd set aside an evening just to watch the whole thing because I knew that once I started, I wouldn't want to walk away.
At any point while recording for the series, were there any funny bloopers that happened during the recording process?
Oh my god, I'm a huge screw up, so yeah. There's probably a whole bunch of outtakes and stuff. The director's like, do you want to practice it? Do you want to go through it? And I'll kind of roll it over, and then it's like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. And he's like, okay, and then we go for it. And sometimes we get good takes right off the bat. Sometimes I, feel like I mispronounce a word or like flub the lyrics or something like that. So there's probably a whole bunch of like. There's probably a whole bunch of like screw that up, just like a whole bunch of stuff like that. Just me tripping over myself in the booth. Maybe they'll release it someday. Jonathan, if you're listening, keep the playlists.
Who knows? Maybe when Agresco comes out on DVD, there'll be an outtakes featurette.
I would love if that was a thing. On every disc had like I don't know like a extra bonus chapter of like 15 minutes of just actors either screwing up or making jokes. But yeah, I mean it's funny because like I haven't even thought about the last time I saw like a lot of outtakes or something besides maybe stuff that hits YouTube.
Especially with anime.
Yeah, because like if you watch it on Crunchyroll or something, if they don't include outtakes as a chapter, then there's probably not gonna be anything there.
Unless, of course, you're talking about Ghost Stories, the anime series, then that's a totally different thing.
Oh my god. That is glory incarnate. I mean, it's just like, it's an anime show, but like the whole thing is just outtakes.
Yeah, I mean,
one giant outtake, and it is glorious.
The dub is something that nowadays would probably not be acceptable.
No, it probably wouldn't be, and that's kind of why, like when I watched it, I was like,
Chris Patton in that his role in that series, he has no chill.
Yes. Okay. When I'm looking at something like that, I'm like, I don't think those jokes would fly right now. It goes pretty crazy. It goes off the rails a bunch of times.
For those of you listening and have no idea what we're talking about, check out the anime series Ghost Stories. You'll have a laugh. Trust me, it's an old anime series, but it's a very good series. Dubbed by, I think, ADB Films. And here's a side story about that. They actually had special permission from the Japanese producers to dub it the way it was. Because the original Japanese audio is nothing like the actual English audio. But go check it out. I promise you, you won't regret it. But anyways, let's go back into the Agresco interview here. What makes you rage? What makes Jamison Boaz rage?
Oh my god, these days what doesn't? I mean, I look out the window and I see something that makes me rage, and then sometimes I look over in the fridge and I think I got a drink, but then there's no drink in the fridge, and that makes me mad, so I rage. I don't know. Bullies. I hate bullies. Bullies make me rage. Trolls, we all know them. They suck. when I'm in the studio and I'm working on music or something, I got like a really good idea, and then you're working too fast or something, and then the computer like lags or something like that. That makes me so furious. I'm like, why can't anything just work?
Or, not saving.
Yeah, or just losing my place. Just, oh God, I thought I was recording. Anybody who hires me as an engineer, you didn't hear that. I'm always rolling, always recording.
At the request of our viewers, can you give us a lesson on how to do a death metal voice?
Sure. So the first thing that you want to do is, I like to either imagine if someone's about to hit you in the stomach or something, you tighten your stomach up, or not to be too gross, but pooping is a good inspiration for this sound. It's really all about kind of tightening up your diaphragm and not pushing with your throat. That is not where the sound comes from. It does not come from the throat. It comes from that area on top of your stomach, but like below your chest. And that feeling that you get when you kind of tense up, it's like, oh God, like, I'm gonna get punched in the gut. And then you just kind of hold it. You kind of hold that sound. So it's really not more than just doing something like this. And then from that point, it's about vowels and enunciation and placement. Kind of imagine the inside of your mouth like, sort of like it's a big giant egg. Like, make the inside of your mouth like the shape of an egg. And that's a little closer to like a more classic death metal voice. You play around with the sounds, and like when I do Agresco, I do a higher placement, so my mouth is open very wide. It still comes from the same place, and the sound is coming up from my chest the same way, but then I open my mouth really wide, and then I go up like this, and then it becomes more of a high scream without going into full fry kind of yeah territory.
Now you just remind me of John DiMaggio.
Oh, I sounded like John! Oh, no. Oh, man. I do like making bacon pancakes. I have to say.
Before we end the interview, can you give us a little sample of Agretsuko? Maybe the capitalism song?
The capitalism song. Let's see. From, was it episode 3?
Yeah, I was surprised I didn't see any song until episode 3.
I know I was getting messages from people going like, "Are you in this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just wait."
I was like, wait.
I'm always little background characters too, in all the seasons that you wouldn't know was me.
Yeah, I kind of recognize your voice as a fan of Retsuko.
I'm so glad you're here. I love it. I love how meta that is too. You got like the biggest fan of the character voiced by the voice of the character that they're the fan of.
I know, that's very funny. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
It was totally on purpose. Gotta give Patrick Seitz props for that one. Also, I have to give Patrick Seitz props for the writing on that for the whole series. Like, he's amazing and so funny. But like the whole she caught him red-handed.
I know.
Oh my God.
So many puns. I know.
I was like, I think Patrick told me about that one in the studio before I left for the day. It was just like, oh my God.
That was when Haida and, oh my God, I forgot the other dog girl's name.
We'll call her Cutie Pie. Yeah, because she's so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, she's this sweet, innocent office girl who wants...
She wants a Haida Pie. All right. So, Agretsuko Season 3 had a lovely song about capitalism after she spent all her money on her virtual boyfriend, got herself in debt, and this is how she felt about it. Screw you, capitalism! The cash I'm not getting, the debt I'm still fretting, the flames of financial hell got me sweating. No matter what I'm doing, I'm always destined to fail, and every damn day another bill's coming in the mail. Endless rat race, jail cell, no door.
Relatable.
Yay! Feel much better now.
Well, thank you for that. That was amazing. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you.
It takes skill to go from that to Agretsuko's fan's voice.
I'm so glad you're here. What do you mean? You're here. Where's here? Over there, in front of me. You're standing too close.
Remain 6 feet apart.
Stay 6 feet apart!
We're almost at the end of the interview, but before we go, we'd like to ask you a few fan questions. How does it feel having a badass voice for such a cute character?
It makes me feel cute. You know? Yeah, I love it, you know? I mean, it's fun to voice, like, you know, big giant monster, you know, night guys that turn into motorcycles and stuff. Like, that's really, I love doing that stuff. But, you know, sharing a character with Erica Mendez, first of all, just my incredible amount of respect for her is so cool. But yeah, I mean, I love that kind of juxtaposition of, like, you know, how cute she is and how adorable she is, but then, like, you know, oh boy, you know, when she's feeling it, she's feeling it. I love being there for that part.
How much practice did you have on your voice?
Over 20 years. I think I started screaming in bands when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and just always did it, you know, which is what got me landed in Agresco, and it lands me with some voice acting roles, because I didn't go to school for theater. I didn't go to, you know, I didn't take any theater in college or anything. Everything was always music related. But because of that, you know, there's some just, you know, certain little techniques like the scream and stuff like that they're just in my back pocket, you know. So it's good. Like I said, it's good for monsters and little cute red pandas.
And again, props to Erica Mendez, who plays Retsuko's normal voice.
Yes, incredible.
Unfortunately, we reached the end of our interview. Is there something else you want to say to our viewers and fans out there?
Just want to say thanks again to all you guys for stopping by, and thank you so much for the questions. Really hope to do this again soon. In the meantime, if you'd like to hear more screaming and raging and a plethora of other emotions along the way, I do have music available on all of the major streaming services and apps, from Spotify to Apple Music. My project is called Epsilon Zero. Be sure to check it out. Contact me on social media and, you know, let me know what you think.
I'll make sure to post all the links down in the description box below, so go ahead and make sure you check them out.
Thanks so much again for stopping in. Rage on! And thank you very much.
Wait, don't go anywhere just yet. You know what time it is. That's right, it's autograph giveaway time. Go ahead and use the comment section below to answer the following question. What makes you rage? Make sure you submit your answer by Halloween for your opportunity to win this amazing Agresco bundle, which includes the OTM Girl CD signed by Jamison Boaz, an Agresco print signed by Jamison Boaz, and finally, an exclusive Agresco plushie. Once again, go ahead and answer by Halloween. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next week for an exclusive interview with Ben Diskin, the voice of Haida. Until next time.
Why is California always on fire?